Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, Text number 3. Kam cha dharma dugham dinam Brusham Shudra Padahatam Vivatsam Ashruvadanam Kshamam Yavasamicchati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Although the calf is beneficial because one can draw religious principles from her, she was now rendered poor and calfless. Her legs were being beaten by a Shudra. There were tears in her eyes and she was distressed and weak. She was hankering after some grass in the field. The next symptom of the age of Kali is the distressed condition of the cow. Milking the cow means drawing the principles of religion in a liquid form. The great Rishis and Munis would live only on milk. Srila Sukadeva Goswami would go to a householder while he was milking a cow and he would simply take a little quantity of it for subsistence. Even 50 years ago, no one would deprive sadhu of a quarter or a two of milk, and every householder would give milk like water. For a Sanatanist, a follower of Vedic principles, it is the duty of every householder to have cows and bulls as household paraphernalia. Not only for drinking milk, but also for deriving religious principles. The Sanatanist worships cows on religious principles and respects Brahmanas. The cow's milk is required for sacrificial fire. And by performing sacrifices, a householder can be happy. The cow's calf not only is beautiful to look at, but also gives satisfaction to the cow. And so she delivers so much milk as possible. But in the Kali Yuga, the calves are separated from the cows as early as possible for purpose which may not be mentioned in these pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. The cow stands with tears in her eyes. The Shudra milkman draws milk from the cow artificially, and when there is no milk, the cow is sent to be slaughtered. These greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the troubles in the present society. People do not know what they are doing in the name of economic development. The influence of Kali will keep them in the darkness of ignorance. Despite all endeavors for peace and prosperity, they must try to see the cow and the bulls happy in all respects. Foolish people do not know how one earns happiness by making the cow and bulls happy. But it is a fact by the law of nature. Let us take it from the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam and adopt the principles for the total happiness of humanity. Today we will discuss one more important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 17th chapter, verse 3. Chapter titled Punishment and Reward of Kali. So this chapter discusses about how Parishit Maharaj, after seeing the distressed condition of the cow, actually the cow was Dharani, the mother earth in the form of a cow and religious principles in the form of a bull, were badly treated by this Kali Purusha, a quarrel personified. And he had badly beaten up in their legs and creating a lot of wounds. And this was very shocking for Parishit Maharaj to know and to see and disturbed his mind. And so he chastises, he reprimands, he punishes the Kali Purusha. Say probably if government tomorrow agrees to make the chapters of Bhagavatam as a syllabus or as a curriculum in the school, it would be very apt that they should include this chapter. Because this chapter teaches us that why we should follow regulatory principles and how we should love and care about our other living beings, very importantly the cows and the bulls, and how we should cooperate in the society and what are responsibilities of the social orders, especially the administrative class. So all these things has been included in this chapter. So probably if they include this chapter in the school children's curriculum, in their academics, it would greatly help them to really see how the Vedic society was, which was very happy and very content and fulfilled in their life. We are all so fortunate sitting here and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Words fall shortage of explaining the greatness or the fortune of all of us who hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day. It's only because of Srila Prabhupada who has given us this opportunity to read Bhagavatam, hear Bhagavatam, recite, understand Bhagavatam every day. Else we would have never come in touch with Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is such a great literature that it fulfills every man's needs in terms of his happiness in this material world. There's one beautiful verse in in the Bhagavata Mahatmya. Srimad Bhagavatanam Shastram Yatra Bhagavater Yada Kriyate Shuyate Chapi Shri Krishnas Tatra Nishchitam. Such a wonderful verse. It says that Srimad Bhagavatam Shastram, that this literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, Yatra Bhagavater Yada, wherever and whenever the devotees recite or hear this Srimad Bhagavatam, Kriyate Shuyate Chapi, Shri Krishnas Tatra Nishchitam. Surely, absolutely, without any doubt, certainly, definitely, that Lord Krishna is present. It's all left to us how much we believe in. It so happens when the initial days of our ISKCON, we are so excited to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, so many stories, so many principles to know. But over a period of time, we become so complacent in our dealings with Srimad Bhagavatam. It's just like you have to pass out the school and college, and when you get the degree certificate, yes, that degree certificate is very, very important to get a good job, to fetch you a good job, good money. Or you have to go to the Western countries, very much important. But when there is no use, we put out somewhere. When we need, sometimes we have to search in which bureau we have kept our degree certificate. Once upon a time, it was so important. So similarly, this Bhagavatam, we take it for granted. In further one more verse, it says, Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam Amalam Gnanam Param Giyate. This Bhagavad Purana is a spotless Purana and is very dear to all the Vaishnavas. Yasmin Paramahamsyam Ekam, and this is a Bhagavatam which has full knowledge about Paramahamsas. Paramahamsas are the last stage in the social order. Last stage is the highest stage in the social order. In sannyasa, there is Kutichaka, Bhutaka, Parivrajakacharya, and finally is Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa has all the qualities of God in full. So this Paramahamsa Samhita is this Bhagavatam. This is syllabus for people who want to become Paramahamsas. This Bhagavatam is creating Paramahamsas. There's no doubt about it. And that literature and that syllabus is what Prabhupada has given to us. It is said in one of the literature that if you want to test someone, it is only through Bhagavatam we can test whether he is learned or not. So this Bhagavatam is such a great literature that we have got, that Krishna is present right amidst us. We all have been hearing about Japa, the Krishna name, Abhinatvam Nama Naminoho, Krishna is there, he dances on our tongue. And when you chant his name, he is present, but still there is effort from you, a physical activity to do. We may go to sleep. We will try ourselves keeping us awake. Walk, run around, chant. But hearing this Bhagavatam is so simple, so easy, that you have to just come over here and sit here. Krishna will be present amidst us. That is the greatness of this Bhagavatam. What qualification do you have to listen to this Bhagavatam? Do you have any qualification? There is one wonderful verse by Rupa Goswami in Padyavali. I request all of you repeat after me. Vyadasya charanam Dhruvasya Kovayam Vidya Gajendrasya Ka Kubjayaha Kim U Nama Rupam Adhikam Kim Tat Sudam No Dhanam Vamshaha Ka Vidurasya Yadava Kulapater Ugrasya Kim Paurusham Bhaktya Tushyati Kevalam Nacha Gunair Bhakti Priyo Madhavaha. Such a wonderful verse which explains that what qualification did that Vyada, that a hunter had, wherein Lord Narada went to him and delivered him so that he was able to write Ramayana. What qualification, what age? Is Lord looking for some age? Dhruva was just 5 years old that Lord appeared to him. His Lord is looking for Vidya, this you are erudite scholar, and you are so much you are learned through grammar, Sanskrit, everything. No, he appeared for Gajendra. Or Kubjaya Hakim Hunama Rupamadikam. In the Mathura was a Kubja, was hunchback woman, was so ugly to look. Was your beauties Lord is attracted to? No. Or is it because Dhanam? Is it because of your wealth Lord is attracted? No, even that is not, because Lord himself got down from his palace to receive Sudama, and he served him so much. Vamshaka Vidurasya, even during the peace proposal, Krishna had gone, and he would have gone to the Brahmana's houses, probably Krupacharya's house or Dronacharya's house, but which house he went to? Vidura's house. So, is he seeing our Vamsha, the lineage, or a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya? No, he is not seeing any of those, because Vidura was born from the Shudrani. Or Yadava Kulapati was Ugrasena, Krishna's grandfather. Is Lord looking for your position? He is not looking for position. Ugrasena could not control his own son, Kamsa. But Krishna, after killing Kamsa, he gave the whole the kingdom to rule for Ugrasena. Bhaktya tushiti kevalo nachaguner bhakti priyo madhavaha. Lord is only looking for our bhakti, nothing else. So what bhakti we have? We don't have any bhakti. Only endeavor is, we have come over here and sat over here, that endeavor is Lord looking for. So here, there's a wonderful quote from Srila Prabhupada in arrival lecture in Dallas, 3rd March 1975. Prabhupada quote. This is Krishna's real family, the eternal family, blissful family. So this Krishna consciousness movement means to train up people to be detached from this false family and to enter into the real family. So this Bhagavatam is such a wonderful literature that it gives all the information that we need to become happy at all levels in our lives. So coming to this important, there's a saying that the divine is in the present and you must be present to experience it. So today's verse, it describes about the cow's condition. So let's take a review of what was discussed in the previous chapter. Just like in the whole Bhagavatam, everyone is getting disturbed and despondent and anxious, right from the Narada then his Pandavas because Krishna was leaving, then Yudhishthira, then after that is Parishit Maharaj. So Parishit Maharaj was a little despondent and he was a little anxious to find out why his grandfathers had left him all of a sudden. So probably Parishit Maharaj was 25 or 35, so he was made to be Uttaradhikari as a king to rule the kingdom. And suddenly all of them had left home and renounced the world. So that was really troubling him. So he asked his Guru Kripacharya, so what is the reason that my grandfathers have left me all alone and have lost their love? So then Kripacharya said, yes, it's because Krishna had disappeared from this planet. At the same time, this Yudhishthira, in his dream, he saw all the bad, inauspicious omens. That cow is crying and the deities in the temple is crying and so many inauspicious omens. The most importantly, the reason was they could not bear the intense pain of separation from Krishna, who was everything to them. The friend, a relative, savior, messenger, everything to them. And he has left this planet. So, because of that, they have left the home and have renounced this world. So now, Parikshita, he is saying that. Kripacharya is saying, now Parikshita, this Kali Yuga has infiltrated in your kingdom. As God has entered your kingdom. And kindly go in all the 8 directions and conquer all the 8 directions of this earth. So that people who are so innocent, who are so cultured, will be protected from this influence of this Kali. So then immediately Parishit Maharaj, he took the army and started going to all the 8 directions. He conquered all the states, Anga, Vanga, Kalinga, Kalinga, Kamboja, Kashmira, Kamboja, Kamurupe, Sauvira, Saurashtra, Magadha, Malava, Nepala, Chola, Panchala, Simmala, Dravida, Karata, Karnata, Purupa, Gandharva, Vidarbhadi, Anaika Vishashaya Desha. So many, these are the names of our ancient India. And all the islands and all the Saptadvipas, Ilavarta Varsha, Kimbusha Varsha, all these Varshas he conquered. Bhadratmaka Varsha, Kimbusha Varshanam. And he conquered all these continents and islands, everything. Finally he could not find the Kali anywhere. So, but everywhere he heard the glories of his forefathers. He heard the glorious and activities of Krishna. That how he had protected Parishita right from when he was in the womb of his mother. So all those things you have been hearing, he was so happy, jubilant that he said, yes, probably Kali is not infiltrated yet. But when he was coming back on his journey back to his home, on the banks of river Saraswati, he was so surprised to see, he was so shocked to see that the bull and the cow was tied to a rope, were badly beaten up. But badly wounded up by this Kali Purusha who had a mace in his hand. So this very much disturbed him. And very important thing, in this previous chapter, we heard the conversation between the bull and the cow, isn't it? Actually, the Bhagavatam is full of conversations. It may be Maitreya to Vidruha, Suda Goswami to Saunaka Varshis, Sukadeva Goswami to Parishit Maharaj, Narada Muni to Prachina Barhi, Narada Muni to Prachetas, and so many things, so many conversations are there in this Bhagavatam. And this wonderful conversation between the cow and the bull, which foretells the events which would happen in the Kali Yuga. In that, before the conversation began, when this bull was badly beaten up and it has lost all its 3 legs and standing on only 1 leg, hefty body, just imagine. And that bull, seeing at the mother cow, he addresses, "Oh mother, why are you crying?" And this bull is undergoing excruciating pain, suffering. What we would do, I get ready. I am going through so much of pains. Why at all I should look at someone's pains, someone's sufferings? And this is the nature of this Bharata Bhumi soil. That Dharma personified, our Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas personified bull is worried about how Mother Earth has been mistreated. Why at all she is disturbed? Paradukka Dukki is Vaishnava's nature. And very importantly, we have to know the entry of Kali was through the tears of Mother Earth. So, generally the mother will not cry because children are eating more. Rather, she would give away her share also. She would be only pained when her children are not listening to her. Very arrogant, very pride, lot of dambo, darpobamanascha, Krishna very much says. Moghasa moha karmano mognana vichesasa rakshasim masurim chaiva prakritim mohinam shritaha. The people who have taken the shelter of Asuri Sampat, not giving back to the Lord. And people are completely lost in making this Asuri Sampat. And still they are not satisfied. They are distressed. They are despondent. There are a lot of depression, anxieties are filled in their hearts. But when we take the shelter of Devi Sampat, it's a small example one Acharya gives. When Sita was looking for the golden deer, which is big in Gatra, size, golden size. And Lakshmana, everyone said, it doesn't exist in Brahma's creation. But she said, no, I want it for herself. She wanted. That is Asuri Sampat, when she said, mourn for me. But she came under the clutches of this Ravan, the conditioned mind. When the same gold, Lord Rama's fingerings, is a Daivi Sampat, liberated her. He may be small in quantity. So similarly, the Mother Earth is not disturbed that children has taken away my property or using of my property. No. The Mother Earth is always pained by we not listening to our fathers. There's a wonderful verse in Hari Bhaktivedanta by Srila Rupa Goswami. He quotes from the Skanda Purana. Agrata santa me gavo me santa prashnataha, gavo me pashvataha santa, gavam madhye vasamyaham. Here Lord Vishnu is putting out his prayers, that what I would like. He is saying, may cows stay in front of me, may cows stay behind me, may cows stay on both sides of me, may I always reside in the midst of the cows. The cow has been given so much prominence in our literature. There was one funny study was made. So the study was, how much time does each species would take to open their eyes when they are born? The first was the cow. The cow is very active, it is in Sattva-guna. The cow gives birth to a calf and it immediately opens its eyes and looks the world and sees the world and tries and understands the world in its reality. And next comes the sheep. It takes after 2 hours, the sheep opens, the baby sheep opens its eyes and looks the world and tries to understand this world. Wow, this is the world. Now I understood. And next comes the cat. Cat, almost it opens, say, 3 to 4 days. After 3 to 4 days, the kitten opens the eyes and tries to understand, wow, now I realize this is what it is. I was thinking something else before. The dog takes almost 4 to 5 days, the puppies. And the humans. The humans take, it's wonderful, after the marriage. So, jokes apart. So, this is very wonderful thing to know that the omens which was described in the previous chapter, that Yudhishthira saw that cows were crying. That same thing, Parikshit Maharaj is seeing this, and practically he is reconfirming that yes, this is Kali Purusha himself. In the context of the omens, there's a Kanhara Vachana. Prabhupada also mentions this in the Krishna book. That how, it can foretell the events, but it's very subtle science. It is one among the 64 arts. In Krishna book, Prabhupada writes, Prabhupada quote, if one sees a cow being milked alongside its calf, it is a good sign. The result of understanding this science is that one can foretell events. And Krishna Balram learned the science. Somewhere Prabhupada says, seeing an unbound cow is auspicious at the time of journey. More auspicious is if the cow looks by lifting its head. In one more place, Prabhupada quotes, the sneezing of the cow brings death while you are traveling. So if you don't know how the cow doesn't sneeze, better not. And if eyes of the cow is filled with the tears, that will be a death and misery in the family. So like that, Prabhupada has given these omens, which are the inauspicious omens, that Parikshita is seeing here again. And in many places, Prabhupada sees the greatness of the cow. In fact, in 10th canto, when Krishna was so much tormented or disturbed by so many demons, all the Vrajavasis and the gopis, they made Krishna bathe with milk, curds, cow urine, gomutra, gomaya, gorochana. It's called as gorochana, the dust which is collected from the hooves of cows' feet. So they gave him a bath so that there will be no dur-nimittas, inauspicious omens. And in fact, Krishna every day when he used to get up early in the morning in Dwaraka, his daily activities was to go to the cow and the bull and do a Dandavata Namaskaram and feed the cows and the bulls, later attend to the Brahmanas, give gifts, and later he used to attend to the ministers. And we are all followers of Krishna. So we all should just follow our scriptures, our ancestors, to know that the greatness of the cow and the bull. And in the 17th, this is the 17th chapter, it starts with, Parishit Maharaj is observing that Shudra is beating this cow and the bull, and both of this cow and the bull doesn't have any masters. Hanyamana manatavat. So very important, Prabhupada says in one of his lectures, I quote, so we should be sanata, protected, not anata, often. We should have our master and be exclusively devoted to him. Then we will feel confident in his protection and always be happy. Prahashayishyami sanata jivitam. So as a sadhakas, each one of us should have some mentor, some guide, who always remains with us to help us take proper decisions in our lives. Else, everything we have got Bhagavad Gita, we have got Bhagavatam, we know how to chant, we sit in the house and chant, we once in a while we go to the temple. No. We should have an authority and we should always take instruction from authorities. In one sense, the people who stay in ashram are so much fortunate that every time they ask the authorities and take the instructions and then move forward. So it is very essential for any sadhaka to have a mentor to him so that he would always take right decisions. So here, very importantly, we have to know that in this previous verse and this verse, Prabhupada speaks about how the administrative class become Shudra mentality, and also Vaishyas have lost their responsibility of protecting the cows and the bulls. Because Parikshit Maharaj, it was new to him, Parikshit Maharaj was seeing that there is no owners of this. It was shocking because Vaishya's rule is what? Vaishya karma svabhadam. What is that? Krishi Goraksha Vanijam Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam, 18th chapter. So, Vaishya's responsibility is to take care of the cows. So, as the social order has collapsed, he was really worried. So, very importantly, we have to understand, just before independence, even after that, later after that, our India was completely dependent upon agriculture. It was known as agrarian economy. The economy was basically based upon agriculture and the livestock. And most of the revenue the used to get was from the produce, agricultural produce, and from the raising of livestock. And the wealth of society was primarily dependent upon the produce of the agriculture and the livestock. And they say it was almost 80 to 90%. So 80 to 90% of the population was engaged in the agriculture. And the turnover or the revenue was also almost 80 to 90% was from agriculture. But slowly now in the present census, if you just take, they say statistics that say it is 60 to 65%. And we are moving towards the industrial revolution or industrial economy. So previously there used to be Takshashila, there should be Nalanda, Nagarjuna, and all those things. They were having a MBA on agronomics. So slowly it has been depleting. Probably you may be knowing the Green Revolution. 2 years when I was there in the farm, it was in 2009 or 10. So we have a wonderful setup there. It's called as Basil Academy, wherein we used to train a lot of farmers and help them convert from their conventional way of farming to the organic farming. And we used to have a lot of faculty members who would come and used to teach a lot of things. There I learned something wonderful. I just want to share with you. You know, this whole agriculture was based upon this cow dung, manure, and the bull who would plow the land. But slowly, because of this Green Revolution, everything was lost. So it was almost in the mid 1800s, 1830, 1840, something that during that time, there was a person, a German scientist by name von Liebig. His name is Liebig. I remember still. Why is Liebig? So it was after that, it was post First World War, that there was huge amounts of ammonium nitrates, was a synthesized form, was lying in the godowns of this army area. They used to make a lot of bombs, but World War ended and a lot of ammonium nitrates was just lying there. So they commissioned this scientist to find out the use of this, find out some use, else it will be lost, because it synthesized ammonium nitrate. So this man, after a lot of research, he came to the conclusion. He took a plant in a test tube, and he burned the plant, live plant, and he took the residue, and finally he got to the conclusion, analyzed and got to the conclusion, what is the constituents of that? It is phosphorus, it is potassium, and it is nitrogen, NPK. Oh, if we give these three things to the plant, everything will be sufficient. It will be very successful. So he just further synthesized the ammonium nitrates, and he just tried in 1 acre of land. It was so successful that within 6 months he got all the produce in the double the quantity, and the plants were so healthy. And that was introduction of urea in agriculture came about. And it so happened after a year or so, say year or 2 year, second year, the production started falling down. So there's a decrease in the production. So again, they were worried, why, what is the cause? One was obviously it's a pest attack. The second was they were thinking, why, what is the reason? And finally they found out that the soil has become so incompatible for any organic matter to grow that we require more concentration of NPK to increase the growth of the plant. So if you see any urea, anyone who is a farmer, they get to know. The urea, there will be a ratio, 45, 75, 82, something like the ratio will be there. So farmers have to keep using the higher and higher ratio every time, and most of their profits which they get from the produce will be almost gone and paying to the urea. Then what is the use of using the urea? And on the other hand, you are spoiling your own soil. And it so happened, what to do with the pest now? See, and probably in the 1940s, things like that, there was introduction there, 1920s or something. The first oil refinery wells was found, and the crude oil came about and started refining to different levels of petrol, diesel, petroleum, gasoline, things like that. And at the same time, because of this gasoline, at the same time, one more person started, he found the automobile industry, making the carriageless carts, horseless carriages. So it was so difficult for anyone in initial times. Just imagine, people used to go on the roads, as a horse carriage or the bullock carts. The bullock carts or horse used to put their dungs all through the roads. And it should be heavily smelling, because over a day or so it keeps smelling a lot, especially horse dung. And the municipal corporation used to have the people every 1 furlong to keep cleaning the roads. Wow, wonderful! Now automobile has come, less to maintenance. And at the same time, an automobile movement came, and they also started doing something for agriculture, and the tractor came about. And it was the Second World War. And during the Second World War, most of the people were dying not because of their fighting in the war, but they were dying because of the malaria. Because of a lot of swamps and the dead bodies around. So one more Shikhamani, one more scientist. So he found out diphenyl trichloroethane. Yeah, we studied in school. DDT. He tried on the mosquitoes, and mosquitoes are all dead. So he told, why can't we try on the farms? And they were very successful. That's how it came about. Pesticides, insecticides. And what all we food now, the food we eat is just like a man in an ICU with the IV fluids. No energy. That kind of food we eat. And we also become like that. No energy, weak. We want supplements. So this is so because of this, cows or the bulls are useless, because cow manure is not used no more because fertilizers have come. Bulls are no more used because tractors come. So practically there is new use. They have taken those places. So very importantly, we have to understand, Prabhupada says that we have to live in harmony with nature. We can't subsist without the help of the nature. And Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam is saying that very importantly, Krishna is saying for the Vaishyas, there are the 5 species on this earth has to be always protected, which Veda says. One is women has to be protected, and one is children has to be protected, old people has to be protected, cow has to be protected, and brahmanas has to be protected. And who has to protect this? Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are protected. Kshatriyas also get money by tax, but they use in developing the society. But the Vaishyas also get money. Money attracts money. They get the greed, because they will not be using money anything else except paying the taxes. So Vaishyas are made to look after the cows or the bulls or the cattle, so that when they become invalid, when they are no more financially viable, they are not giving milk anywhere, they are financially viable, not useless, but still the Vaishyas will take care till they die. So that the greed is checked by taking care of these livestock, where they are not protective. So such depthness is what Krishna is speaking about. So very importantly, as I was saying, this 5 kinds of people has to be protected, old people. Initially, there was probably some 30-40 years back, there was not much old age homes. Now there's a lot of old age homes with a lot of facilities and comforts have come about. And practically we think they are useless and invalid. But we have to very importantly understand that parents may not have the time to sit with the children, don't have patience to sit with the children and give the knowledge what they have learned. But the grandparents have all the time in the world to share their information, share the knowledge, share their experiences, wisdom with their grandchildren. So they're creating the leaders of the future. So very importantly, we don't look at this angle. In fact, most of the time I spent with my grandfather. He used to tell about the Second World War and things like that. Still it is lingering in my mind, how things used to be there. Well, in fact, last week one devotee, his initiated devotee who came to me, and he is 69, he is completing his 70 this August, and he sat with me and he started crying. And he said, Prabhuji, please find some good old age home. I told him, why? Everything is good. You're chanting, you're reading Prabhupada. Everything is good. Why are you doing this? Why you want to go to old age home? You will not get prasad, things like that. No, I can't bear the humiliation from the family. My wife, my children, my in-laws, daughter-in-law. Then what happened? Yeah, Krishna conscious, you should be away from that, all those things. No, Prabhuji, it's so much painful. Yesterday I told her to switch on the light at 6 p.m. But she started shouting, I know this, why you have to say again and again, and the grandchildren are looking at me and I have a fear that grandchildren also may treat me like that. So many emotional things would go about. So we have to take up spiritual life as such a wonderful thing where we have to take it very seriously. That when we all become old, emotions take over our lives. We should not allow that to do. By reading the pastimes of Pandavas, by reading the pastime of Rama, even though he was 24 years, he was being pampered that next you would be the king. And when he heard from Mantara that he has to leave home and he has to go to the forest, not even a one question he asked. In Kannada, thutak pitak kanlila, Kannada se. So when we read all these pastimes and activities, then we get a lot of mental strength. So someone was saying, Prabhuji, you speak about this cows so much. What about the buffalo's milk, goat's milk? Actually, in fact, Ayurveda speaks so much about cow's milk. Because if you are, all the disease comes because of this imbalance in kapha pitta vayu. So for that, you have to increase the fire, the digestive fire in the stomach. For that, very much essential is by drinking a spoon of ghee every day, cow's ghee. So that the Jataragni is kept alive, very sharp. Okay, you have very strong Jataragni, strong digestive power in the stomach. Okay, you make paneer, you make mayonnaise, you have cheese, you eat that, all those things, buttermilk, what is that, milkshake and everything. Okay, I ate so much, now I got dysentery. Okay, you drink buttermilk, you take curds. For every damn thing, damn disease, we have a solution from the cow. Yeah, certain places in Ayurveda speaks about the goat's milk, which is very useful for the tuberculosis. But this cow's milk is essential for developing the finer tissues in our brain, Prabhupada says. I was just thinking, what is this finer tissues in our brain? Actually, even scientists have done some research on this. They call it as a God spot in the brain. See, brain is made up of millions of neurons, cells, and it is a flesh. It has many lobes, parietal lobe, frontal lobe, and all those things there. So there is one God spot which helps you, it gives you the feel of spiritual, people who follow spirituality, compassion, feeling good for others, love, care, and all those things. That is called as a God spot. That is in the lower parietal lobe, it's just below this. Just imagine, Sahasrara chakra is below this. So, And these tissues develop when they take only the cow's milk. It's essential for one to keep the mind calm, cool, peaceful, and helps in spiritual advancement. That is the greatness of cow's milk. So, coming to this, again the purport, Prabhupada says about the children's protection. The parents, teachers, and elders play important role in shaping the child's mind. And nowadays, you just imagine every child has been given a mobile just to keep him engaged. It's so dangerous. Some of the parents are realizing this now. It's so dangerous that the child is open to anything in this web and is accessible to anything, and how his mind would turn out. It's so shocking to know. From past almost 2-3 years, I've been hearing a lot of news in the US, United States, that children are bringing their weapons and ammunitions to the school, and there's a mass shootout out. They would kill a teacher because they're tormenting them because of some homework or reprimanding them because of some mischief. Recently, last week, there was a school called as Rickneck Elementary School. A 6-year-old child in Virginia brought a gun, pointed at teacher, shot and killed. Actually, there was some long time back, I had just read this. There was research made that what is a typical challenge a school face during different years. The typical challenge to school face during 1960s or 70s was, children were very mischief, and they used to make noise and sounds behind teacher's back when she was writing something on the board, things like that. And a typical challenge for the school to tackle with the children in the 1960s or 70s, sorry, it was 60s, 70s finished, 80s and 90s, was they were a lot into, throwing the paper aeroplanes, or love letters, and smoking in the schools or in the bathrooms in the schools. And a typical problem in 2000, the school is facing to tackle was pornography, drugs, their drinks, things like that. And a typical problem the school is facing to tackle from the children was now in 2020 was arms and ammunitions. Every school has the surveillance machines which detects whether the child is bringing any gun or not. Just see how things are moving. Is this what our education should be? Our children should be taught how to be more tolerant, how to control your anger, how to be more compassionate, how to be more loving. Is our education we call advanced civilization, advanced education? Is it what the children are being taught to? And in fact, some of the children, don't know what the cow is. Especially in US countries, there was again when a funny research was made. So they came to this classroom and there was the students, 30 to 40 students who were there, and they started asking questions. Do you children, all of you drink milk? Yes, everyone raise your hands. Everyone started raising their hands. Yes, we all drink milk. And they asked, from where does the milk come from? Next question was, from where does this milk come from? So one student raised his hand and he said that, yes, milk comes from the factories. And one more child lifted his hand, he said, my milk comes from the mall. And we purchase from the mall. And one more very intelligent child, he says, my milk comes from Swiggy. Swiggy or Piggy. They call it Dunzo or Dungzo. Blinkit, Zepto, so many things. Children don't know this. Then finally they educated them. See, milk comes from the cow. Now, is it fine? Now next question is, how is a cow? Please explain, describe the cow. Just like we in our school days used to explain how dinosaur would look. So they are explaining how the cow would look like. That is a pathetic situation, because we in India, we know the cows would go around here in the next street, we can see. But the same cow in some other countries, stay on the roads, they will shoot it out. They should be only in the cattle ranches. They can't go anywhere away. So, this is a very pathetic situation, that seeing the cow, it is something different. Many people, they come over here for Go Puja and things like that. When their children are made to, I tell, please touch this cow, and I'll think, they're so afraid, as if some zombies are standing, some species are different are standing here. They're so afraid, they can't touch, they started crying. And what to speak about the cow dung? There's a neighbor, one of our neighbor here, when I was previously in the PR department, I used to get regular calls, because she was working in the Udaya News. She used to regularly call me, Swamiji, your Goshala cow dung is smelling very badly. Please take it away, take it away. And I used to try to explain, no mother, this Goshala is very good, this cow dung smell is very good for health. But could not help. So cow dung, they think, and cow dung, what to speak about cow dung? Even the people who stays in apartments consider the soil as a dirt. Every food which comes from their life comes from the soil. Because they are born and brought up in all sophisticated way in apartments, and they go to the companies which are all AC, then marriage AC, everything in AC. Then finally, when they die, they have to be put in soil. Then they understand after death, oh, this is what soil is. So, very important, we have to understand that, the children's, especially the Gen X, Gen Z, is called as Zoomers. We are people who are in 40, 45s are called as millennials. They call it as Gen Z. There's so much averse to all those things. Actually, there's one incident which happened when I was 7 or 8 years. My mother had taken me to our nephew's farm, and it was a sunny day, and just previous to that, previous night there was a heavy rains happened there, and practically the road was wet, and all the potholes of a typical village mud road was filled with water. So we got on from the vehicle and we started moving towards the house. And it was so astonishing to me that I saw that there was on every pothole was filled with some water, and just like when you put badam powder in water, in milk, how it look? It generally look like that only. Then I told my mother, and then there's cows grazing over there. I told, Amma, see that the cow has milk, the badam milk is over here. And still now, my relatives reminisce, remembering that and laugh to their heart's content. Because I was not knowing how the cow would be milked. So, very important, which we have to learn, that how to love our living fellow beings and the living entities around us is what we have to teach our children. Else, we will be ruining our nature, our own future. So this, the previous verse, it talks about lot about the bull's condition, and this verse talks about about the cow's condition, that she was so poor and calfless, and she was in distress condition and weak, and she was hankering for some grass. So very important, we have to understand, Prabhupada says in the purport, milking the cow means drawing the principles of religion in a liquid form. Especially in the Vedas, there's the most number of times the cow name has been used is almost some 2,000 times. That many times the cow has been mentioned in our scriptures. And about the cow slaughter, that you should not do the cow slaughter, we should avoid cow slaughter, almost 150 times. There's a ratio made, there's a study made. And even if someone dies or someone has to give some dan, they say go dan. They don't say shwan dan or a camel dan. They say go dan. The cow is very much intrinsic to our lifestyle, our life. They are called as surrogate mothers. Because mother may feed only for 6 to 8 months. But after that, what nourishes us is this cow. I was just thinking, what is there in this milk? Just imagine when we are all babies, 6 or 8 months old, till 8 months old, probably if they were fortunate, till 8 months old, they have been fed with mother's milk. Or by 7 months only, the mothers will stop. So, till 7 to 8 months, our mothers fed us with their milk. And that was the initial formative years of the brain's development. That wherein you would understand how to walk, how to talk, how to identify your relatives, about emotions, things like that. Everything happened within this 7 to 8 months, only because of milk. You do not eat cheese, paneer, anything, nothing. Pizza, no. Or some minerals, some tablets, some supplements, nothing. Just mother's milk. So similarly, this milk is so important in our life that it develops the finer tissues in our brains, which helps us understand the spiritual life very much. So furthermore, for your information, I just got this. It is said, Mata Rudranam Duhita Vasunam Swasaditya Mamrutasya Nabihi is saying that mother cow, the cow is a mother for all Rudras, and Duhita Vasunam is a daughter of all Vasus, and Swashadityanam is a sister of all Adityas. Goha Naraha Vadovo Astu, it is in Rig Veda, it says, cow slaughter is equivalent to the manslaughter. Antakaya Gohatam. So, may cow, it is in Yajurveda, may cow killers be destroyed. So, in 2000, probably 2008, I think so, when Modi first came to the power, during that time, there was a lot of cow lynching cases were coming up. Somehow, I don't know, they have added me in one group, WhatsApp group, that there are cow, they protect the cows being slaughtered in illegal slaughterhouses. They take to the illegally, they take the cows and they slaughter that, and there's a group who keep protecting and keep sending the photos, we protected this cow, things like that. So, should we kill the people who are killing the cows? So very importantly, we have to understand that what is our stand in this context. Prabhupada says that we are developing people, we are cultivating people to develop some Brahmanical qualities in their lives. That is the purpose of Krishna conscious activity. So we have to bring awareness to the people and preach to the people and the greatness of the cow, and this is how we can make probably stop this cow slaughter. And there is a number of verses which explains about the greatness of the cow. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Kama asmi kama duk. So he says, among the cows, I am the Kamadenu. So very important, it is not just in our scriptures, but in all of, I would just take 5 more minutes. Sorry to take much more time. So it was again probably in 18 or 19 years back when I was in fundraising department. So I was so much enthusiastic and inquisitive to know the philosophies of other religion. So probably I don't remember whether Nandanandana Prabhu or Nityatupta Prabhu. So once I went to one foundation, Muslim foundation. That is called as Peace Foundation. It is still in Shantinagar. I used to go to a lot of mosques, fathers, churches, and discuss a lot of things. So when I went there, there was 2 people, Omar and Rauf. They were doctors in Manipal, and their only thing was how to make people bring to the mainstream. So there was a discussion happened, and one of them introduced to one more scholar. And that scholar was so erudite, and he started quoting a lot of Bhagavad Gita verses. We were so astonished. And he gave a Quran to my hand. And he's saying that this Quran has some 145 chapters, and it's called as Surah. And it has many verses, and totally there are 2,300 verses called as ayats in the Quran. So then he gave to me, And I took the Quran. I can't bring to the ashram, so I had in cabin, and I just started reading. The English was very bad. Somehow I finished first chapter. And to my astonishment, the second chapter name was Al-Bakra. Al-Bakra means in English is a cow. I was so assured the people who eat cow have a chapter on a cow, and that is the biggest chapter in the Quran. Has some 300 verses, 300 ayats. There's an interesting incident which comes in that. There was one wealthy Bani Israeli, and he didn't had any the people to inherit his property. He was very wealthy. His wife had died and no children, but he had only one nephew. And nephew waited for a long time to inherit the property, but this old man did not give. So finally he murdered this man, this wealthy man, Bani Israeli. And the people who are there, all the relatives, other relatives of Bani Israelis, they found there's some fishy here. So there is some kind of conspiracy happened there. So they wanted to find who is a murderer or whether he is really died because of natural death. So they went to the Musa. Musa was Christians call him Moses. So go to the Musa and they ask, we want to know who is the murderer of our relative. And Musa went to and he closed his eyes and asked Allah. And he got a commandment saying that they should sacrifice one cow, and the piece of flesh of the cow, they should put it on the dead body. And they get to know who is the murderer. And all the relatives started ridiculing this Musa. What is this you are saying? You're making a joke of this or what? Finally, the Musa was disturbed. So they started ridiculing him more. Oh, which kind of cows has to be sacrificed? Then Musa got angry and said, any cow you sacrifice. No, you have to ask Allah and tell. Then Musa asked Allah. Then he got the commandment that the cow should be not too young or not too old. So then the relatives got the answer, but there are so many high-fat cows which are not too young or too old. But which one to kill? Again they went to the Musa and asked, which exact color of the cow you wanted? Then again they got the answer from the Allah that it should be yellowish white they want. Then again in the yellowish white, so many were there, which one to kill? Then again they got the commandment from the Allah that it should not be useful for the plowing, tilling or for irrigation. They finally, after a great search, they got one cow in one family who had lost their father, and only the mother and son was. So finally this relative goes there and try to appease the son that they take two gold coins, 3 gold coins, things like that. But he was not satisfied. He said, I should ask my mother and then give. Then mother says, no, my husband has said before his death that take this cow and go to the nearby forest and leave it there. So then it so happened these relatives are not all living. Then this boy got so much angry upon these relatives, he wanted to throw them out. He said that, can you give that much gold which can cover this whole cow's skin? Then they were perplexed, what to do this? And mother said, okay, that much gold if you give, we'll give. So they also got perplexed, and finally the relatives decided, because the wealthy man has much more property, so they wanted to know who the murderer is. So then finally they gave the cow, and other story is there in the Quran. Anyway, so very importantly, we have to see how they were so conscious about sacrificing a cow. Not that now fanatic Muslims now, something come in their dream, kill one goat because it will bring back your son alive. Something like that. They will kill all the goats in the world. Not a fanatism. They were so specific. They know the importance of cow killing. What would happen to them? What would be the after effects, repercussion? So this is very important in our life, that we have to understand the scriptures through the eyes of, through the words of acharyas. Then we will get to know what the real meaning is. And here further Prabhupada says, the great rishis and munis would live only on milk. So they were called as Dugdhari Babas, who subsist only on the milk. And some people, some sadhus subsist only on the fruits. They call us Palahari Babas. And we are called as Paneer Palav Babas. So this is what very importantly we have to understand, that how Prabhupada is trying to give the importance that cow should be respected, even though there is no use nowadays. The bull is nowadays, but still they are the fathers and mothers, and we should protect them. Sukadeva Goswami, Prabhupada, he says, Sukadeva Goswami would go to householder while he was milking a cow, and he would simply take a little quantity of it for subsistence. Sago dohanam matram hi graheshu grahamedinam. This is Prabhupada quote. This is very important. Please hear attentively. A sadhu only has attachment to lotus feet of Lord, nothing else. A sadhu moves constantly. If he stays in one place, then he will develop attachment to that place. That will turn into material attachment. Therefore, it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam that Sukadeva Goswami hardly stayed in the house of a man long enough to milk a cow. Because he wants some milk, he waits just 5 or 10 minutes to the householder to milk a cow. If he cannot get it within that time, he leaves that house. So Prabhupada says that cow is the most important animal for developing the human body to perfection. So at the last, but not the least, this wonderful quote, a letter to Raya Rama in 19th November 1968, even butchers are welcome. We are not meant for moving anyone's sentiment against animal slaughter. We are not Buddhist or Jains. Their main propaganda is against animal slaughter. Even the so-called vegetarians who do not take Krishna Prasadam are as sinful as the non-vegetarians. Our propaganda is different, to make people Krishna conscious, which automatically makes them sympathetic against any kind of animal slaughter. That is the effect. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one living entity subsists on the life of other living entity, either vegetarian or non-vegetarian, but we are neither of them. We are neither vegetarians nor non-vegetarians. We are transcendental. We are concerned with Krishna Prasadam. Try to popularize Krishna Prasadam, and as you have already done, people will naturally become vegetarians without any ghastly propaganda. So, such clarity Prabhupada is giving, that we don't have to make hartal and stand in front of government saying that stop animal slaughter and all those things, but rather than our propaganda is what? To popularize Krishna Prasadam. We belong to the pure devotional group following the footprints of great Mahajanas. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is clearly said that there are two classes of activities, pious and impious. We do not favor either of them. Neither do we favor any philosophical speculation. We simply stick to Krishna and wish to render loving transcendental service. So, at the last, one more is there. Prabhupada very beautifully, he says that we are not meant, we simply stick to Krishna, and this was again one more letter by Prabhupada. We simply stick to Krishna and wish to render loving transcendental service unto him. Anyone who is not a Krishna conscious person is a butcher. Even the so-called pious man who is not in Krishna consciousness is also a butcher, because he is killing his own self, Atmagatha. If in our view, everyone is a butcher and everyone is also a thief because he is enjoying Krishna's property. Even the so-called butcher comes, we welcome him to chant Hare Krishna. So, ending with one wonderful pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is a wonderful pastime wherein in Chaitanya Bhagavata, Madhya Leela, in the 13th chapter, just after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered Kazi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day used to do nocturnal kirtans in Shiva's house. And the kirtan was to be so tumultuous and so enticing and attractive that many people wanted to attend it. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would have kept a few guards at the entrance of the Shiva's house so that only the devotees should enter and should participate, not anyone. And this made a lot of the villagers become against Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They started condemning him, chastising him, that this Nimai should go away. He's getting a lot of sound and noise night. We're unable to sleep. But nevertheless, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never allowed non-devotees to participate in the kirtan, night kirtans. The whole night the kirtan used to go, Akhanda kirtan. Once it so happened, one brahmachari, brahmana, who was subsisting only on drinking milk. So he regularly used to come to Shiva's house and used to beg from Shiva, please allow me to participate in Chaitanya's Sankirtana. I want to take part, I want to enjoy that great ecstasy of Chaitanya. Seeing that, I want to enjoy that ecstasy of Chaitanya. But he used to deny many times. But after many successive attempts, so finally Shiva agreed, okay, fine, provided on one condition, you should go and hide in some behind the pillar, so that Chaitanya will not notice you. Otherwise Chaitanya would chastise both of us. He doesn't like this. So he came early that day and went behind one pillar and hid there. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees came, the singers, and everyone came there and started dancing and kirtan, Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, everyone started kirtan, tumultuous kirtan was going on. And that time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately he stopped and asked Srivas, I'm not feeling that ecstasy I was supposed to feel every day. What is the reason? Someone may be hiding here. Let me know who is that. Tell me the truth. So the Srivas was a little afraid. Then he said, yes, Swami, actually there is one brahmachari. So he subsists only on drinking milk, palahari. And he has, I have allowed him, but he is not a non-devotee, he is not an atheist. So I allowed him, please forgive me. Sarva kala paya pana anna nahikaya prabhure kirtana vipra deki bare chaya. So when Chaitanya Prabhu found out that man was hiding, he just pulled him out and he said, Dui bhuja tuli prabhu anguli dekaya paya pane kabhu more de kehana hi paya. So Chaitanya Prabhu raised his arms towards the door and he said that please get out from here. No one can attain me simply by drinking milk. Gajendra vanara gope eta pakarila bala dehi tara more ke mata paila. Look, there was Gajendra who attained, Gajendra did austerity, did Hanuman did austerity, or did Gopis did austerity. I appeal to them because of the bhakti, not by drinking milk, but not by any austerity. Prabhu bale paya panne mora nahi paya sakale karimu churna deki bare ithaya. One cannot attain me only by drinking milk. You will see right here how I smashed him to pieces. So he chastises him, and that Brahmana gets really feels sorry that he had disturbed the whole atmosphere there. But inside he was feeling so joyful, so happy that he had witnessed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Kirtana. At the same time, he took it as positively. He took it that it is a mercy of the Lord that I have been chastised like this. And he was turning back and he was going towards the door. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could feel that he could get to know the heart of this Brahmana. And he calls him back and gives him his mercy by putting his feet on his head. So that is a wonderful story, wonderful incident. Because you may say Prabhuji gave class and Mataji, it will be difficult for Mataji from tomorrow onwards, they have to get more liters of milk. So Prabhuji has said it develops the fine tissues. But this also here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was exhibiting that one cannot attain me only by drinking milk. So we have to drink the milk of Srila Prabhupada's words by reading his books every day, which would really help us grow spiritually. Isn't it? It's not by drinking milk that we came to ISKCON, no, isn't it? It is by reading Prabhupada's books that we came to Krishna consciousness. And we have to thicken it, Prabhupada, thicken the milk, that it become more serious. Sarvadeva namaskritya keshavam pratigacchati Srila Prabhupada ki jai.